landing siya. Kanina sa pagsisimula ng selebrasyon ay nagkaroon ng commemorative mass na sinundan naman ng pagmarcha ng mga veterans bilang alay sa mga sundalong nagbuwis ng buhay para sa ating kalayaan. At mamaya, bandang alas 9 nga po ay gaganapin yung ikalawang bahagi ng programa at magkakaroon po ng arrival honors para sa panauhing pandangal, Pangulong Benigno S. Aquino III, na susundan naman po ng isang flag raising ceremony. Sa monumento naman ng pagdaong ni General Douglas MacArthur ay mag-aalay ang Pangulo ng bulaklak kasama yung mga envoy at representatives mula sa mga embahada ng United States, Australia, United Kingdom, New Zealand, Japan, Canada at kasama rin po ang ilang mga lokal na opisyal, si Leyte Governor Leopoldo Petilla at Colonel Bonifacio de Gracia naman ng Veterans Federation of the Philippines. Mamaya rin, siya ay maririnig natin ang kanilang mga pagbati pagkatapos ng talumpati ni Mayor ni Palo City Mayor Remedios Petilla at syempre po ay aabangan din natin yung Remembrance of the Landing Guard Association. Samantala, isang number naman ang ating masasaksihan para sa mga war veterans na pinamagatang Heaven Watch the Philippines na pinaghandaan ng Grand Choir of Tolosa. At ang highlight ng event na ito, syempre, ang keynote address ng panauhing pandangal, Pangulong Benigno S. Aquino III. Pero gaano nga ba kahalaga para sa ating mga Pilipino itong 70th anniversary ng Leyte Landing? Kanina po ay nakausap natin si NHCP Deputy Director Minda Arevalo. Gaano kahalaga
papalaya sa iba pang mga lugar para matapos ang ikalawang digmaang pandaigdig dito sa Pilipinas. So after nitong Leyte Landing, nagkaroon po tayo sumunod na po ang mga iba pang mga pagpapalaya sa ibang mga lugar kagaya ng sa Lingayen Gulf, sa Nasugbu, marami, Los Baños, lahat pa ho, at nagtapos nga po sa pagsuko ni General Yamashita noong September 3 sa Baguio.
And ma'am, what does this mean about our relationship with the U.S. government, the Philippine-U.S. relations then and even up to now?
Alam naman natin bago ang digmaan, Commonwealth government na sa mapangalaga tayo ng mga Amerikano nung sumiklab ang digmaan. So ito pong event na to, October 20 yon ng 1944, 3 days later, October 23,
the arrival of His Excellency Benigno S. Aquino III, President of the Republic of the Philippines. We shall have the arrival honors.
Tanghal! To! Mga pinuno, tanghal. Ta! Alis. Baba. To. Mahal na Pangulo, handa na po ang tulupad pananggal upang libutin. Tanghal. To. Pinuno, tanghal. Ta. Mga pinuno, baba, ta. Kanda dala. Alis. Baba. To. Mahal na Pangulo, tapos na po ang parangal.
Parating natin ito sa talaga.
Mga kasama, ipinapaabot ng ating mahal na Pangulo, kagalang-galang Benigno S. Aquino III, ang kanyang taus-pusong pasasalamat sa parangal na ginawad natin sa kanya ngayong umaga. Baba, kalis.
We shall proceed with the flag raising ceremony with His Excellency Benigno S. Aquino III.
Tanda dala. Kalis. Tanghal. To. Ano? Tanghal. To. Alis. Baba. Po!
From here, may we invite the President towards the area for the wreath-laying ceremony.
Baba. Alis.
Ayan na po, ayan na po, ayan na po.
Handa dala. Kalis.
We shall have the wreath-laying ceremony.
Mahal na Pangulo, handa na po ang pag-aalay. Pinopit pakaliwa. Kad.
The first to offer the wreaths, we have Colonel Bonifacio de Gracia of the Veterans Federation of the Philippines and the Honorable Leopoldo Dominico L. Petilla, Governor Province of Leyte. Minister and Deputy Chief of Mission, Charge the Affairs, Embassy of Japan. Next, we have Mr. Estefan Corbett, Charge the Affairs, Embassy of New Zealand, and His Excellency Asif Ahmad, Ambassador, Embassy of United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. this time we'll have His Excellency Bill Tweddle, Ambassador, Embassy of Australia, and His Excellency Philip Goldberg, Ambassador, Embassy of the United States of America. And now we have His Excellency Benigno S. Aquino III, President of the Republic of the Philippines, to offer the wreath. He is accompanied by the Executive Director of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines, the Honorable Ludovico D. Badoy, and the Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, General Gregorio P.O.P. Katapang Jr.
Andadala. Kalis. Ta! Lipunan tanghal. Ta! Lipunan pa. Tak. Handa dala. Kalis. Baba. Tak. Tanghal. Ta. Punan tanghal. Tak. Baba. Tak. Handa dala. Kalis. Baba. Ta. Mahal na Pangulo, tapos na po ang pag-aalay. Yes. Baba, kalis.
May we now invite His Excellency and other distinguished guests for the traditional pose in front of the monument.
Napapanood ang aming special coverage mula dito sa MacArthur Landing Memorial National Park sa Palo, Leyte ng ika-70 anibersaryo ng Leyte Landing. At kasama po ng Pangulong Benigno S. Aquino III, nakikita nyo ngayon, si NHCP Executive Director Ludovico Badoy. Kanina po ay natunghayan natin ang arrival honors para kay Pangulong Aquino. At kasama po rin niya, matapos po ang arrival honors ay nagkaroon ng flag raising ceremony na sinundan naman ng isang wreath laying ceremony. Kasama po ng Pangulo na nag-alay ng bulaklak sa memorial ang ilang mga envoy ng iba't ibang bansa. Si Ambassador Philip Goldberg ng Amerika, si Ambassador Bill Tweddle ng Australia, Ambassador ng United Kingdom na si Asif Ahmad, at Chargé d'Affaires ng Embassy ng New Zealand na si S.M.E. Corbett. Kasama rin po na nag-alay ng bulaklak sa monumento ng shrine, na monumento ng landing ay si Ambassador Tetsuro Amano ng Japan.
This is the voice of freedom. General MacArthur speaking. Peoples of the Philippines, I have returned. By the grace of Almighty God, our troops once again stand on Philippine soil, soil consecrated in the blood of our two peoples. Now let that indomitable spirit of Bataan and Corregidor lead on. Let no heart be faint, let every arm be steeled. Follow the divine God to the holy grail of righteous victory.
That was the Executive Director of General MacArthur Honor Guard Association, Mr. David Valley, in remembrance of the landing. We shall move on with the program proper in a while. May we invite His Excellency and other distinguished guests to proceed on stage. Thank you.
Yan po ang sikat na speech ni General Douglas MacArthur. Makabalik sila sa Pilipinas. Ang nagpahayag po noon ay si Ginong David Valley, ang Executive Director ng General MacArthur Honor Guard Association. Yung speech po na yon, exact words, ang in-air po sa radyo matapos po makabalik ang si General MacArthur kasama po ang ilan sa kanyang mga tropa dito sa Pilipinas para tulungan ang mga Pilipino laban sa mga Hapon. Kasama ko pa rin po Professor Xiao Chua.
Ang napaganda dun sa speech ni MacArthur, ipinakita niya na hindi lang si MacArthur ang bida mismo nung Leyte landing, kundi yung pagpapalaya ng Pilipinas ay team effort ng Estados Unidos at ng mga Pilipino, di ba? Sabi niya, soil consecrated in the blood of our two peoples. Yun yung mahalaga doon na makita natin ngayong araw na ito.
Alam mo, Professor Xiao, no, yung ang alam ng tao, basta bumalik lang dito si General MacArthur. Pero bago siya bumalik, mahalaga rin na tandaan natin na kinlear ng mga Filipino guerrillas itong area para rin makabalik at maging safe itong tropang ng mga Amerikano.
Mas naging less costly ang pagpapalaya ng Pilipinas dahil sa efforts ng mga guerrilla forces sa pakikipagtulungan ng mga USAFE, ng mga Amerikanong pwersa dito sa Pasipiko.
Nasa stage na po ang Pangulong Aquino kasama po ang iba't ibang mga ambassadors ng iba't ibang bansa. Magkakaroon ng maikling programa po dito at magbibigay ng kanilang mga pahayag ang mga ambassadors at matapos po yan ay magbibigay din ng kanyang mensahe ang Pangulong Benigno S. Aquino III. Tunghayan po natin ang programa.
Our Lord's Transfiguration Cathedral of Palo.
Let us pray. Sovereign nations offer you praise and thanksgiving in freedom. Let us worship God, the Almighty. O God of all times and all seasons, deep in our hearts we profess our faith in your divine will that directs our history and destiny. From eternity, you fill the world with the abundance of life and the balance of nature, and you bestowed to every nation the sacred right and duty to defend and to preserve the beauty and harmony of your creation in peace. Be pleased, O God, with our collective vision as we offer to you this solemn prayer to implore your blessing upon us as we celebrate the 70th Leyte Gulf landing anniversary. Humbly, we beseech you, enlighten us with your divine wisdom as nations of goodwill and allies for peace and prosperity. Empower us with your truth and justice to uphold the universal principles and values that protect human life and respect human rights that bind our nations. Provide and protect from all harm all peace-loving people, especially the poor and the needy. Forgive our offenses and recriminations in the past, and sanctify and heal us with your mercy and compassion. Prosper and sanctify the life of all our honored guests, visitors, and especially all our brave veterans who offered their lives to gain our freedom. With sincerity, we implore your distinct benediction on His Excellency, Benigno S. Aquino III, President, Republic of the Philippines. Finally, may the God of life, the God of providence, the God of our history and destiny bless, protect, and prosper us in peace. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. To welcome our distinguished guests on this commemoration of the 70th anniversary of the Leyte Gulf landing, may we hear the Honorable Remedios L. Pitilla, Mayor, Municipality of Palo.
Maupay nga aga haton nga tanan. Good morning on such a beautiful day today. May I greet before anything else us all along the way. His Excellency Benigno Aquino III, President of the Republic of the Philippines. Distinguished members of the diplomatic corps of the allied countries and other nations, national officials, and distinguished members of the cabinet, Secretary Jericho Icot-Pitilla of the Department of Energy, Governor Dominic Pitilla, and all provincial officials, the honorable mayors, national and regional directors and officials, municipal officials of the municipality of Palo, beloved veterans and members of the sons and daughters. Today, 70 years ago, we commemorate once again the most memorable day in World War history. Many lives were sacrificed to attain the peace and freedom that we enjoy today. Countless lives during that time, hand in hand with the Allied forces, and all other peoples braved the dangers on the front line, and with glory, honor, and courage, won for us this big battle. These heroes are our models, our inspiration. They reflect our hearts and our minds, our ideals and our goals. Yesterday's heroes were those who fought and gave us victory in battle. We fought the battles, and together with everyone else, we won the war, recovered, and moved on. But then again, another battle came in all its fury and wrath, Super Typhoon Yolanda. We all know the devastation, the massive destruction, and the pain and sufferings it brought about. Beyond words are the effects of this typhoon on a people, on a country, and on a world. We are now on the way to recovery. We are going back to our day-to-day lives and slowly picking up the pieces. And with help coming from all directions and the mercy of our Lord Most High, we will fully recover and move on beyond recovery. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take this opportunity to extend to our dear President, President Benigno S. Aquino III, our deepest gratitude and thanks for all the assistance he has sincerely and generously given to us, inspiring us and igniting our plans, our moves towards fast recovery. Thank you, Mr. President. We will always remember. We deeply thank all the government of other nations all over the world, international and national organizations, non-organizations, for the kindnesses along the way. And to all our survivors, kudos and my salute to all of you for making recovery attainable, possible, and reachable, and a way of life now until we shall have reached recovery to the fullest. Like the battles of World War II, together we will win this new battle. And so from the bottom of our hearts, we say, welcome to the municipality of Palo. Welcome to this memorable celebration. And thank you for always. God bless us all.
Thank you to Honorable Remedios L. Petilla, Mayor, Municipality of Palo. The first to deliver his solidarity greetings, may we call on Lieutenant General Ernesto G. Carolina, AFP retired, Administrator, Philippine Veterans Affairs Office.
His Excellency, our guest of honor, who will be formally introduced later, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Filipino veterans community, I convey our solidarity with the freedom-loving people of Leyte on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of the Leyte Gulf landings. We acknowledge the provincial government of Leyte and the National Historical Commission of the Philippines for their dedicated efforts in managing this annual commemoration, as this continues to remind us of the heroic deeds of our war veterans who fought during the Second World War. This momentous day belongs to all our war veterans. We express our highest respect and render them our snappy salute for their gallantry and exceptional courage, and for their selfless sacrifices in the performance of duty. And our veterans continue to serve as inspiration and role models to our citizens, especially the youth, as they manifest to this day their deep sense of patriotism and love of country, and contribute in whatever way they can to nation building. We are in solidarity with the Filipino people, who remain faithful stewards and vigilant guardians of our veterans' heroic legacies by promoting historical awareness through continued patronage of our national military shrines, active participation in commemorations and historical observances, and ardent support to the advocacies of our veterans, especially those that will propagate their heroic deeds. Similarly, we offer our solidarity to our allies, notably Australia, Canada, Japan, New Zealand, the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and the United States of America, that earnestly propagate peace and promote cooperation among peoples of the world. Today, we all stand as stronger allies against terrorism, transnational crimes, pandemics, the adverse effects of climate change, and other challenges confronting mankind. Likewise, we declare our solidarity with our President as he strives to fulfill the mandate of providing immediate and adequate care to our country's veterans and their dependents through increased benefits, improved access to hospitalization and healthcare services, and vigorous support to legislative initiatives and advocacies that seek to enhance their welfare and well-being. We can proudly say that ours is a nation that does not forget its defenders. And lastly, we express our solidarity to the youth, our future veterans, as they take pride in their great historic past and endeavor to preserve the very values and ideals our veterans fought for. May they rise above the challenges of the present time to become the new breed of our nation's defenders and leaders who will steer this country towards progress, peace, and greatness. Thank you, and a pleasant day to one and all.
Thank you to the Administrator of the Philippine Veterans Affairs Office. Let us have Ms. Elizabeth Baldwin-Jones, Political Counselor, Embassy of Canada.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, veterans, Governor, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, 70 years ago, the return of General MacArthur and President S.M.E. to Leyte in the Philippines signaled a turning point in the Pacific War. It is thus fitting that we gather each year to honor the memory of those who fought, to celebrate their victory, to mourn those who fell. It is a privilege and an honor to represent Canada here today. I wear a poppy to remember the nearly 120,000 Canadian men and women who died in the service of peace over the last century, 47,000 of whom lost their lives during World War II. And many of those soldiers, sailors, and airmen fought bravely in the Pacific, proudly alongside Filipino, American, Australian, and New Zealand forces. Their sacrifices, and those of millions more civilians, were not in vain. They made it possible for the strong, resilient, vibrant, and inherently collaborative communities which emerged from the threats of fascism and imperialism. While today we face different adversaries, terrorism, poverty, natural disasters, and pandemics, the keys to victory remain the same: partnership, cooperation, and solidarity. Winning now, as then, will require patience, persistence, and a long-term commitment from governments and people around the world to work together. We've not shied away from these challenges. Canada and the Philippines remain steadfast partners in a wide range of cooperation. Political, development, commercial, and our people-to-people links continue to grow. Our partnership in the aftermath of Yolanda best captures our relationship. Canada remains firm in its commitment to support the Philippines in its recovery and rehabilitation, and just as we were committed to peace and freedom 70 years ago. It is not the efforts of just one country alone that will ensure success in dealing with any of the challenges we face today. Like in World War II, it is the strength of the global community working together that will make the difference. It's only through solidarity and partnership that we can ensure that the freedom won by the men and women we honor, celebrate, and mourn today will endure. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you to the Political Counselor, Embassy of Canada. May we hear from Tetsuro Amano, Minister and Deputy Chief of Mission, Charge d'Affaires, Embassy of Japan.
His Excellency Benignas Aquino Sad, President of the Philippines, Honorable Marojas, Secretary of Interior and Local Government, and Secretary Jericho Petira, Secretary of Honorable Jericho Petira, Secretary of the Energy, and Excellency Ambassadors, the Honorable Leopold Domenico Petira, Governor, Province of Leyte, Honorable Remedios Petira, Mayor, Municipality of Paro, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Iki nagakarak kong masakasma kayong lahat sa mahalagang okasyon na ito. Good morning. We gather here today to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the Leyte Gulf Landings. I am greatly honored to join all of you on this significant occasion to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the Leyte Gulf Landings. Standing before you all in this place where years ago thousands have bravely risked everything so that we can all enjoy freedom today, please allow me to pay my greatest tribute to those who had fought and fallen, and express our heartfelt apologies and deep sense of remorse over the memory of losses and damages that the tragedy of 70 years ago has inflicted upon this soil. We all know how everything turned out after that, particularly for Japan. Japan has learned valuable lessons from history and has since committed firmly to never again make war and to proactively contribute to peace and prosperity in this region based upon the rule of law and justice. Ladies and gentlemen, in the last World War, many have sustained deep physical wounds. Even deeper were wounds that punctured the souls and sentiments. Yet, as an old saying goes, time heals all wounds. Is 70 years of sincere repentance long enough? We will never know for sure. But what I do know is that the Philippine people throughout all these years have been more than gracious. It warms my heart to witness and experience firsthand the quiet magnanimity, compassion, and fairness of the Filipino people, particularly toward Japan. Such notable Filipino traits made reconciliation between our two countries. Now we are friends, and this friendship only gets deeper through time. In fact, this year already marks the 58th years of the normalization of diplomatic relations between the Philippines and Japan, anchored on our common values and interests, our relationship are steadily developing, especially through the summit meetings between our leaders, Prime Minister Abe and His Excellency President Aquino. Since last year, this relationship has further reinvigorated to be truly worthy of a strategic partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, this is symbolized clearly by our two countries' cooperation to tackle the devastation caused by natural calamities, especially the relief operation to help the victim of Super Typhoon Yolanda, which hit Leyte last November, commanded the 1,200 personnel of Japanese Self-Defense Force under its Operation Sankai to provide medical and epidemic prevention services as well as airlift support. Also, the Japanese government has provided financial support amounting to over $600 million to help the relief and the reconstruction from the devastation by the typhoon. It is being still implemented to develop the restoration and the reconstruction to this area. To the contrary, the Philippine government also provided heartfelt support to Japanese grand earthquake in Tohoku area happened 3 years ago, and also His Excellency President Aquino has sent his kind message of sympathy over the recent typhoon devastation to Japan. So, taking this opportunity, we would like to express our sincere appreciation of it. Ladies and gentlemen, lastly but not least, needless to say, Japan, true to its commitment, shall continue to work hand in hand with the Philippines and like-minded country in ensuring that the values of peace, democracy, and human rights we have worked so hard to foster in the past 70 years will not cease to be the guiding principles and foundation on which future generations can build. Thank you very much. Marvin Salamapo sa inyong lahat.
Thank you to the Minister and Deputy Chief of Mission, Chargé d'Affaires, Embassy of Japan. May we call on this time Mr. Estefan Corbett, Chargé d'Affaires, Embassy of New Zealand.
His Excellency, President of the Republic of the Philippines, the Governor, Mayor, and administrative officials of this beautiful province of Leyte, our brave and valiant veterans, members of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, my colleagues in the diplomatic community, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are here to mark a decisive stage in the Asia-Pacific theatre of World War II and a significant moment in Philippine history that allowed the re-establishment of civilian government in this country based in Tacloban. General MacArthur, who famously said, "I will return," after his retreat from Corregidor, made good his promise. And of course, President Osmeña and Carlos Romulo were at his side. Allied and Filipino forces were involved together in the landings and in the subsequent liberation campaign. We are here also in solemn memory for the more than 50,000 servicemen who died during the landings and battles on Leyte over the subsequent months. The war in the Asia-Pacific was fought to lay the foundations for peace in the region, a peace that the Philippines and its allies, including New Zealand, are all partners in. History has shown us the resilience of the people of Leyte. Last year, the international community again stood by the Philippines in the face of the terrible destruction caused by Typhoon Yolanda. New Zealand, remains a partner of the Philippines in times of need. And you have our continued support as the people of Leyte recover and rebuild their lives. But today, our purpose is to remember the heroism, sacrifice and tragedy of World War II, as exemplified by the landings here in Leyte. It behoves all of us to remember, to recommit ourselves to a peaceful coexistence, to international cooperation, and to creating the conditions in our own societies where peace is fostered and prosperous communities can thrive. This is important so that the sacrifices we are remembering today were not made in vain. Thank you.
Thank you to the Chargé d'Affaires, Embassy of New Zealand. His Excellency Asif Ahmad, Ambassador, Embassy of United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, will give his solidarity greetings.
Your Excellency, Pangulo Benigno Aquino III, dignitaries, veterans, ladies and gentlemen, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat po. Maraming salamat para sa imbitasyon sa ika-70 anibersaryo ng Leyte Landings. Ito ay ang importanteng bahagi ng kasaysayan ng Pilipinas at ng mundo natin. From 1939 to 1945, the whole world was engulfed in a conflict where we fought together as allies to regain our freedom. In Europe, Africa, and in the Asia-Pacific region, our people endured the hardship of occupation, harsh imprisonment, and the loss of loved ones. The bravery and sacrifice of those who served in the United States forces, in the forces of the Commonwealth of the Philippines, and indeed from Australia and other Commonwealth countries, is remembered to this day. Many ordinary people played their part in the liberation of the Philippine Islands. Today, we also commemorate their contribution. General MacArthur's unwavering mission to return to free the Philippines made a difference to us too. British forces were able to regroup and turn back the tide of occupation in other parts of Southeast Asia. As allies, we were true to our word. We fought in the name of freedom. We did not return as colonial powers after World War II. Great sovereign nations emerged from this dark chapter of world history. The name of Ruperto Cadava Cangleon and many other Pinoys stand alongside that of many heroes who fought and won back their country. The true dividend of the courage and determination of the liberators is visible here today. The people of the Republic of the Philippines live in freedom. They exercise choice. Filipinos shape the destiny of their country. The 20th of October every year is also Philippine-UK Friendship Day, and it is an honor to stand before you and add the voice of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland to the memory of the great legends of the liberation of the Philippine Islands. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat.
Thank you to the Ambassador, Embassy of United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Let us also hear from His Excellency Bill Tweddle, Ambassador, Embassy of Australia.
Your Excellency Benigno Aquino III, President of the Republic of the Philippines, distinguished guests, veterans, ladies and gentlemen. Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Maupay na aga ha iyo nagatan. It's my great honor and privilege to be here this morning to represent the people of Australia, and in particular the men, the women and the veterans of the Australian Defence Force. We gather on this solemn occasion to offer our deep respect and to acknowledge the courage, the sacrifice of those who fought so bravely in these seas, in the skies above, and on this land to contribute to the immense task of liberating the islands of the Philippines 70 years ago. As history has recorded, in February 1942, General Douglas MacArthur made his way from the Philippines to Australia. And on the 20th of March, travelling south from Alice Springs with his wife and young son, he stepped from a train onto the platform in Tarawi, a very small town in South Australia's mid-north, to salute a gathered crowd and make an unexpected yet most famous pronouncement. His words were, and I quote, "The President of the United States ordered me to break through the Japanese lines and proceed from Corregidor to Australia for the purpose, as I understand it, of organising the American offensive against Japan, a primary objective of which is the relief of the Philippines," end quote. He then followed with the one line that defined his war efforts in the Philippines and in Australia, and I quote, "I came through and I shall return," end of quote. These famous words to be repeated a number of times before he formally assumed command of the Australian Armed Forces on the 18th of April 1942, a force that included 100,000 members of the 2nd Australian Imperial Force, 265,000 Australian militia, and 38,000 Americans. It was to be 2.5 years of heavy fighting across the Pacific by American, Australian, and other Allied forces before General MacArthur was able to make good on his promise and return to his beloved Philippines. Last evening, ladies and gentlemen, I had the enormous privilege to host the dedication of a memorial to recognise the contribution made by Australian Defence Force personnel in the liberation of the Philippines, just over the back from here. Over 4,000 Australian servicemen fought, 92 were killed, and many hundreds were wounded. Their contribution was a small yet significant part to the Allied victory here and throughout the Pacific. Today we honour with humility those who fought, those veterans who fought in the Leyte campaign. Some of those veterans are here with us today, along with the friends and relatives of the brave Filipino people who fought beside and supported the Allied forces during the campaign. We are enormously grateful for your service to the cause of reclaiming the peace. On occasions like this, we are reminded of the courage, the resilience, and the sacrifice of our fellow countrymen and women in the face of severe adversity. Their selflessness and their valour serve as a timeless example to all of us of just how much can be achieved through solid alliances and shared values. These common values were put to the test nearly 12 months ago at this very location when Typhoon Yolanda made landfall, destroying the lives of so many Filipinos. I'm very proud to say that Australia was quick to respond, along with many others, with emergency assistance, including medical support and defence personnel on the ground. Over 500 sailors, soldiers, airmen and women answered the call, along with HMAS Tobruk and our C-17 and C-130 aircraft, in addition, of course, to our civilian emergency responders. They, like their forefathers, were justifiably proud to work alongside their Filipino friends. To the local government of Leyte and the mayors and people of Tacloban and Palo, thank you for your generous hospitality and for the continued remembrance you give annually through this fine service to your nation's heroes and veterans and to those who fought alongside you to liberate the Philippines. Mabuhay ang veterans, mabuhay ang Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po. Thank you.
Thank you to the Ambassador, Embassy of Australia. This time we'll have His Excellency Philip Goldberg, Ambassador, Embassy of the United States of America, for his solidarity greetings.
President Benigno S. Aquino III, distinguished members of the government and armed forces of the Philippines, Governor Petilla, Mayor Petilla, fellow ambassadors, distinguished colleagues from the diplomatic corps, honored guests, our dear veterans, ladies and gentlemen. I am extremely honored to speak to you all at this important place in our shared history. 70 years ago today, General Douglas MacArthur delivered on his promise to the Philippines to return with Allied soldiers and with Filipino allies to begin a campaign to liberate these beautiful islands and to fight for the freedom of us all. When we look at the images from that day of the brave soldiers coming ashore, not knowing what lay ahead, we reflect on the rich history of the American-Filipino alliance. And with our allies from Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom, we recall our victories in World War II and the greatest naval battle that was ever fought in the Gulf of Leyte. And we are reminded today by the presence of our allies from Japan that nations can overcome divisions in the common pursuit of freedom and democracy. The United States and the Philippines are bound by a deep and abiding friendship forged by a history of shared sacrifice and of common purpose. The many Filipinos who bravely served side by side with American servicemen and women during World War II, and the veterans of our two nations buried at the Manila American Cemetery in Fort Bonifacio and the Clark Cemetery bear testament to our profound and enduring bonds. These bonds are enriched by the presence in the United States of 3.5 million Filipinos and Filipino Americans, and in the Philippines by more than 350,000 Americans. In the 21st century, our countries are linked together more than ever. At this very place in October 1945, General MacArthur and General Sutherland stood shoulder to shoulder with President Osmeña and General Romulo. American and Filipino patriots worked together to achieve what may have at times seemed impossible, to turn the tides of a war. But our partnership endures, and we succeeded. Together we fought for liberation, and together we prevailed. The images of that day still inspire us and serve as a reminder of our enduring friendship, as do the words of General MacArthur from 70 years ago. We have come dedicated and committed. And it is these words that embody the strong partnership that exists between the Philippines and the United States. Over the past 7 decades, the United States has not wavered in our dedication and commitment to the Philippines. Our resolve to work together through good times and bad is a testament to the friendship our two countries share. In just a few weeks, the world will mark the 1-year anniversary of Typhoon Yolanda, an event that brought so much suffering to the people of Leyte and the Central Visayas. We are proud that the United States was able to respond so quickly following that disaster. Since last November, the United States government, through the U.S. Agency for International Development and the Department of Defense, have provided assistance worth more than 6.4 billion pesos for typhoon relief, and so that the people of this region can start rebuilding their lives. As President Obama said during his visit last April, America's commitment to the Philippines is ironclad and unmistakably embodied in the U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty, a pillar of our relationship and a source of stability in the region for over 63 years. But we are continuing to renew and expand upon our partnership. And as I look ahead, I know we will be faced with challenges and uncertainties, but just as was the case 70 years ago, we will prevail. And when we examine our shared history and our shared victories, when we consider the values that underline our relationship, courage, mutual respect, and freedom, there can be no doubt that by working together, we will meet any challenge, no matter how great. Thank you again for the great honor of allowing me to speak today. A special thank you to all the service members from the Philippines and from our own country who are here today. It's because of your sacrifices that we enjoy the benefits of freedom. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much.
Thank you to the Ambassador, Embassy of the United States of America. As a tribute to the veterans, the Grand Choir of Tolosa will deliver a classic piece entitled Heaven Watch the Philippines, composed by renowned lyricist-composer Irving Berlin, dedicated to General Douglas MacArthur to mark the liberation of the Philippines. This was performed for President Sergio S.M.E and his cabinet. Thank you to the Grand Choir of Tolosa. May we now call on the Honorable Leopoldo Dominico L. Petilla, Governor, Province of Leyte, for his message.
His Excellency President Benigno S. Aquino III, members of the Diplomatic Corps, our distinguished members of the Cabinet, Monsignor Rex Ramirez, Lieutenant General Ernesto Carolina of the AFP, Vice Governor Carlo Loreto and the board, Provincial Board, Honorable Mayor Remedios Pitilla of the Municipality of Palo, Honorable Mayor Sandy Javier, the President of the League of Municipalities of the Philippines, Honorable Vice Mayor Sambo Yaucasin of Tacloban City, all our veterans here today, headed by Colonel Bonifacio de Gracia, our national and local officials, the AFP, the PNP, our dear veterans, a pleasant good morning to everybody. We are gathered once again to commemorate the historic event in our people's liberation. Indeed, the first shots that were fired in this historic province of Leyte by the American forces 70 years ago were fired in the name of freedom and the dignity of free men. Where we are right now stands the historic memorial of Leyte Gulf Landing, which reminds us of the events of World War II. The war 70 years ago was much more than just a military operation in the conduct of the war in the Southwest Pacific. It was much more than merely a campaign to defeat the enemy. It was much more than just a classic strategic military blow into the heart of our enemy-occupied land. It is great to see many here today. I thank the many distinguished guests and diplomats who are here, and especially our World War II veterans who served the country 70 years ago. Indeed, the brave action of our veterans endure the pages of history. Today, I would want us not only to remember their gallantry on the battlefield, we must also look at the lasting legacy of strength and service they have brought with them. The commemoration of the Leyte Gulf landings remind us of the responsibility we have to our veterans who served for the nation. We are forever indebted to them for their bravery, their patriotism, and the sacrifice they made for us every day. I know we cannot pay enough tribute to our veterans and all the people in the province of Leyte who bore the brunt of the battle in the fight to regain our lost freedom and dignity. To them, our due honors and the salute from a grateful people and of the free men everywhere. Today, we likewise pay tribute to the modern-day heroes, the people who came and reached out to us, either personally or through any other way, in the aftermath of that horrific Super Typhoon Yolanda last year. They are heroes themselves, who in more ways than one, help us get back on our feet and onto the road to our recovery. Every Leyteño would agree it was a very trying year for us. However, the mere fact that we were able to gather again here today and pay greetings to our heroes is but one proof that we can overcome it all because of our resilience and perseverance. On this grateful commemoration of Leyte Gulf landings, we likewise remember and thank all our supporters who helped us through these past 11 months. We bow in deepest and grateful appreciation and gratitude. Our resilience and courage is very evident amid the countless adversities we encountered the past year. We have shown that peace between adversaries can be achieved, and strength can be drawn from others who extend a warm helping hand. And our veterans here today, already in their golden years, give us hope that tomorrow will be better, and all of us will be stronger. As we commemorate today another year of this historic event, I would now ask our people to keep faith and nurture the memory of those who gave their all in these sacred shores. For the saga that was Leyte is the saga of freedom for all times. As we continue our firm resolve to get back on our feet and fight head-on the challenges ahead, I have the words of the famed General Douglas MacArthur, who walked in the shores 70 years ago. Let no heart be faint. Let every arm be steeled. The guidance of divine God points the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you to the Governor, Province of Leyte, for your message, sir. At this point, commemorative medal and stamp will be presented to His Excellency Benigno S. Aquino III in commemoration of the 70th year of the Leyte Gulf landing that signify the promise of General Douglas MacArthur. May we have on stage the Honorable Vicente S. Aquino, Deputy Governor, Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, for the commemorative medal, and Honorable Maria Josefina M. de la Cruz, Postmaster General, Philippine Postal Corporation, for the commemorative stamp. Thank you to His Excellency. The Secretary of the Department of Interior and Local Government, the Honorable Mar A. Ross II, will introduce the guest of honor.
Mga minamahal na kababayan, ang ating gabay, ang ating leader na nagdadara haaton hinmaupay, malinawon, ngan mainuswagon, nga kaugmaon. Ang Presidente sang Republika sang Pilipinas, Benigno S. Aquino III.
Mabuo tayo. His Excellency Philip Goldberg, His Excellency Bill Tweedle, His Excellency Asif Anwar Ahmad, Mr. Stephen Corbett, Mr. Tetsuro Amano, Miss Elizabeth Baldwin-Jones, Secretary Mar Rojas, Secretary Ikot Petilla, Governor Leopoldo Petilla, Mayor Remedios Petilla, Executive Director Ludovico Badoy, Postmaster General Maria Josefina de la Cruz, Deputy Governor Vicente Aquino, Lieutenant General Ernesto Carolina, Colonel Bonifacio de Gracia, General Gregorio Catapang, our Chief of Staff, the Lieutenant General Hernando Ereberi, the Commanding General of the Philippine Army, Lieutenant General Jeff Delgado of the Air Force, and Vice Admiral Jesus Millan of the Philippine Navy, other local government officials of the province of Leyte, officers and members of the various veterans organizations, officers and the men and women of the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Philippine National Police, fellow workers of government, honored guests, maupay na agaha iyong tanan. Nakalasan ako nga an aton mga bisita, iyana nagyakan hin Tagalog. Pero pagpasinsya niyo ako nga ako magyayakan hin in English para mahibaron nila. Wala pa ho akong nililigawang oray. Baka kalain nyo may nagtuturo ko 70 years ago today, at 10 a.m. sharp, Allied soldiers began to climb down from their ships using rope ladders. They boarded their landing crafts and swept onto this very beach, where a few hours later, at 1 p.m., President Sergio Esmeña, Generals Carlos P. Romulo and Basilio Valdez, and General Douglas MacArthur would wade ashore. By reclaiming these shallow waters, the Allied forces would begin to unfurl the sails of freedom for the Philippines. They had embarked in Hollandia, New Guinea, a week before. They entered Leyte Gulf at midnight and dropped anchor at 7 a.m. The real journey, however, had started 2 years earlier when, from Corregidor in the darkness of defeat, the voice of freedom had broadcast, and I quote, "We too shall rise," close quote. And sometime before, in Brisbane, Australia, MacArthur had vowed, and I quote again, "I shall return," close quote. Finally, here at Red Beach, unfazed by sniper fire, he once again broadcast a simple statement which was repeated around the world, and I quote, "I have returned." By October 23, 1944, a mere 3 days after they had landed on Red Beach, the Philippine government was re-established in Tacloban, resuming the journey to independence interrupted by the onset of war. In 4 more months, Manila would be liberated. As we gather here to mark perhaps one of the most crucial turning points in the war, it is only fitting that we recognize the courageous leadership of General Douglas MacArthur, who reminded the world of the need to reclaim the freedom the Philippines had lost. At the same time, we gather to reaffirm that the story of the Leyte landings and of the Philippine liberation was woven not just by the resolve of an individual. It also consists of the stories of thousands upon thousands of brave men and women of different nationalities who came together in the Philippines in defense of freedom. Thus, on this occasion, we likewise pay tribute to the generation of GIs, sailors, Marines, airmen, and guerrillas who fought to get here and who continued the fight until the end of the war in 1945. Their numbers are very few today, and we are reminded of the reality that in time, what was so vivid to the wartime generation will pass from living memory. The Leyte landings made up the largest amphibious operation in the Pacific. The Battle of Leyte Gulf would later be known as the largest naval battle in recorded history. Neither side doubted the importance of the fight. The Japanese Imperial General Staff saw Leyte as the defining battle that would decide the outcome of the war. Their actions were proof enough of this belief. It was in this battle where the first kamikaze units were organized and deployed from Mabalacat, Pampanga, with the mission of crashing their aircraft into American ships. Allied forces likewise saw it as a battle to win back the future of the Far East. And its gravity was reflected in the terrible cost that humanity paid in this battle. The American soldiers and allies struggling to advance in the torrential rain and mud at the Leyte Valley and Breakneck Ridge on the way to Limon, the sailors on aircraft carriers and cruisers in Leyte Gulf and Surigao Strait, the Japanese kamikaze airmen who vowed to turn their aircraft into the instruments of a divine will, the thousands of Filipino guerrillas under the command of Roberto Canglion, the civilians in surrounding communities, all of them paid the price. Spanning 100,000 square miles of sea, this battle would claim around 13,000 lives on both sides. The campaign for the island of Leyte would add to that number, with 3,500 American and 48,000 Japanese casualties. These numbers encapsulate the idea that in war, it is the ordinary soldier and the unarmed civilian who suffered the most profound consequences for decisions made by those in power. The soldier is expected to demonstrate valor and to lay down his life if need be, while the civilian must find ways to survive from day to day in the face of bombs, bullets, and wartime shortages. At the end of the conflict, when all is said and done, leaders may rise or fall, but the veterans and the civilians are left with the task of rebuilding their lives and their nations. It is this common experience that, in many ways, provides the opportunity for reconciliation based on shared privations. It lays the foundation for a solidarity based on a common resolve to never again allow humanity to undergo the same terrors and losses. As president, I've always been conscious that my decisions today will have a bearing on the lives of my countrymen tomorrow and for the generations to come. Looking back on the past and on how previous leaders faced the supreme challenges of their times, I've always felt it incumbent upon me to seek out the lessons that will keep us from having to call on our people to make such sacrifices and from having to embark on the path of disaster that led to so much suffering and loss. Today's ceremony, I believe, gives us an opportunity to engage in this kind of reflection, to pay tribute to our forefathers who fought and died here, and to recognize the goodwill we now extend to those who were once our enemies. Beyond cataloging the horrors of war, let us honor the peace that has reigned among our nations for close to 70 years. Let us renew our commitment to the strong and enduring friendships between the Philippines and its wartime allies, and perhaps most meaningfully, the countries that were once its foes. Through these friendships, we saw, just last year, vessels bearing the proud names of those that had fought at Leyte Gulf, once more journeying to the Philippines. Ise from Japan, Washington, and Denver from America. 70 years ago, ships with these names engaged in battle, seeking to eliminate the threat of the other. Last November, they came here as partners to demonstrate their unity with the Filipino people at a time of such massive loss and tragedy. Typhoon Haiyan saw countries who belonged to the Allied and Axis forces, all once actors in a great war, united as friends in their desire to help the Filipino people. Today, we are bound by the determination to help each other. To echo General MacArthur's own words, for our homes and our hearts, for future generations of our sons and daughters, close quote. And in the name of all those who made the ultimate sacrifice so many years ago, Indeed, there is no more fitting tribute to show that from strife, not merely reconciliation, but genuine, meaningful solidarity is possible. Thus, today, as we salute those who gave their lives here at Red Beach, and as we continue a pilgrimage of memory that began in Bataan and Corridor, and which culminates in Manila next year, we remember the brave, we mourn the dead, and most of all, we commit to peace as the true legacy of a conflict that should never be repeated, and look to a shared future founded on the trust we now extend towards each nation of goodwill and nourished by the freedom we so cherish. Thank you. Good day.
Thank you very much to His Excellency Benigno S. Aquino III.
Kaibigan, yan po ang keynote address ng Pangulong Benigno S. Aquino III.
Well, this
Inyo pa rin
formally
pong,
ends the commemoration
napapanood
of the
ang
70th
aming
anniversary
live coverage
of the
ng
Leyte
70th
Landing. To
anniversary
everyone,
ng
thank you for
Leyte
your presence
Landing mula
and have
po
a pleasant
dito
day.
sa MacArthur Memorial sa Palo, Leyte. Sa kanyang talumpati ay pinagpugayan ng Pangulong Aquino ang pangunguna ni General Douglas MacArthur na pinaalala sa mundo ang kahalagahan ng pagbawi ng kalayaan ng Pilipinas. Kasabay nito ay binigyang pugay rin ng Pangulong Aquino ang libu-libong mga tropa na nagtulungan at nakipaglaban para muling makamit ang kalayaan. Ang daang libong mga nawalang buhay din noon ay paalala sa ating lahat ayon sa Pangulo sa kahalagahan ng sama-samang determinasyon na di nahayaang mangyari uli ang digmaan. Sa halip umanong gunitain ang digmaan, ayon sa Pangulo ay mas mahalaga ang pagpugayan, ang kapayapaan at magandang ugnayan ng mga bansa sa loob ng halos 70 taon. Mahalaga umanong pagtibayin ang ugnayan ng Pilipinas di lamang sa mga bansang naging kakampi nito noong digmaan, ngunit maging sa mga naging kalaban nito. Isang mahalagang halimbawa ng mabuting ugnayan ay ang suportang natanggap ng ating bansa nang manalasa ang Typhoon Haiyan o Bagyong Yolanda sa ating bansa noong nakaraang taon. Umaasa ang Pangulo na kasabay ng pag-alala sa mga nagbuwis ng buhay ay ang pagbibigay pugay sa katapangan ng mga nakipaglaban ay pagpapatuloy pa rin ang pagsisikap nating lahat na maprotektahan ang kapayapaan at kalayaang patuloy na tinatamasa nating lahat. Yan ang mahalagang mensahe ng Pangulo na sumentro di lamang dun sa paggunita, Professor Xiao, dun sa mga nawalan ng buhay, sa naging digmaan, ngunit ang pagbibigay halaga sa kalayaan. At nakikita po natin, live feed pa rin po ito, ang Pangulo kasama si Ambassador Goldberg at iba pang mga embahador ng iba't ibang bansa, kasama rin po si Governor Petilla. Pumunta siya dito sa historical marker. Ito po, nasa tabi lang po namin ito, sa kaliwang banda nitong MacArthur Landing Monument.
Oo, ito ay monumento para doon sa mga ibang tumulong kasi ang laging na-highlight din yung Amerika at napakalaki talaga ng ambag ng Amerika sapagkat yan ang pinuno ng USF pero marami din mga Australians na lumaban noon at nakita natin yung iba't iba pang mga bansa, Canada, New Zealand, Great Britain, nandito silang lahat at United Nations yung kumbaga allied forces yung nandito na tila naulit yung kasaysayan after 69 years nung Yolanda sapagkat tila United Nations din ang tumungo dito upang tulungan tayo.
Oo, at nandun yung mga pangalan ng mga bansang tumulong dun sa Allied Forces at maging yun earlier bago nag-wreath laying ang Pangulo at iba't ibang mga ambassadors ay inalayan din ng wreath ng iba't ibang mga grupo. Samantala, gaano kahalaga nga ba sa ating mga Pilipino itong paggunita natin sa MacArthur Landing dito sa Leyte? Kanina po ay ipinaliwanag yan ni NHCP Deputy Director Minda Arevalo. Ms. Arevalo, gaano kahalaga po para sa ating mga Pilipino itong Leyte Landing?
Napakahalaga to sa ating kasaysayan sapagkat ito ang naging hudyat ng simula ng pagpapalaya sa iba pang mga lugar para matapos ang ikalawang digmaang pandaigdig dito sa Pilipinas. So after nitong Leyte Landing, nagkaroon po tayo sa sumunod na po ang mga iba pang mga pagpapalaya sa ibang mga lugar kagaya ng sa Lingayen Gulf, sa Nasugbu, marami, Los Baños, lahat pa ho, at nagtapos nga po sa pagsuko ni General Yamashita noong September 3 sa Baguio.
And ma'am, what does this mean about our relationship with the U.S. government, the Philippine-U.S. relations then and even up to now?
Alam naman natin bago ang digmaan, Commonwealth government na sa papangalaga tayo ng mga Amerikano nung sumiklab ang digmaan. So ito pong event na to, October 20 yon ng 1944, 3 days later, October 23, nire-establish ang Philippine government dito po sa Tacloban. Kaya napakahalaga po ito sa ating kasaysayan.
Marami po sa mga kabataan marahil ay napakaliit ng kaalaman tungkol po dito sa Leyte Gulf Landing. How important is this po para lalong-lalo na doon sa mga kabataan na alamin yung iba't ibang aspeto ng ating kasaysayan?
Oo, mahalaga lalo na itong mga paggunitang ganito na taon-taon ginagawa natin dahil nakikita ng ating mga kabataan, nare-realize nila ano yung mga sakripisyong binigay ng ating mga ninuno, ng ating mga bayani, lalo sa pagkakataong ito ating mga gerilya, sa pagpapalaya ng ating bayan upang makamit natin muli, mabawi natin ang ating kalayaan.
And lastly, ma'am, you might want to take this opportunity para ihayag po sa ating mga manonood kung ano-ano pa po yung ibang mga events na inorganisa ng NHCP.
Para dito po, ang local actually po, kailangan po natin i-acknowledge ang maraming preparation po ang ginawa ng LGU ng province at ito pong Palo para sa pagdiriwang na ito. Ang aming pong parte ay itong commemorative event na gaganapin natin yung araw.
Maraming salamat po sa inyo, NHCP Deputy Director Minda Arevalo. Yan po ang ating naging panayam mula kay NHCP Deputy Director Minda Arevalo. Pinaliwanag niya kung gaano nga ba kahalaga na gunitain itong mahalagang okasyon na ito, ang anibersaryo ng Leyte Gulf Landing. At kanina nga po ay binigyang highlight ng Pangulo sa kanya naging talumpati yung kahalagahan ng pag-alala di lamang sa naging pagbubuwis ng buhay ng daan-libong mga katao, ngunit yung pagsasama-sama at pagsasanib puwersa ng bansa during peacetime.
Tama. So yun yung nakita natin ngayon na yung puwersa natin na mga iba't ibang bansa sa buong mundo, pwedeng hindi naman gamitin na tayo ay magsiraan, kundi upang magtulungan at gawing mas maganda ang ating mundo.
Bago tayo magpaalam, meron kang mga nais pasalamatan, Xiao.
Siguro ina-acknowledge natin yung nanalo sa stamp competition, nilagay kanina doon, binigay sa presidente, si Derek Makutay. At syempre, ating pinapasalamatan din ang RTVM, PTV, IBC, Radyo ng Bayan, National Historical Commission of the Philippines, Provincial and Local Government of Leyte. At syempre, marami pong salamat at sinamahan po ninyo kami sa napakamakasayang araw na ito.
At dito po nagtatapos ang aming special coverage ng anibersaryo, ika-70 anibersaryo ng Leyte Gulf Landing live po na inihatid namin sa inyo mula dito sa Palo, Leyte. Muli ako po si Cathy San Gabriel kasama si Professor Xiao Chua. Isang magandang araw po sa inyong lahat at mabuhay Pilipinas.
Mabuhay.
Alertong pangkalusugan. Ngayong tag-ulan, mag-ingat sa flu o trangkaso. Ang trangkaso ay sanhi ng influenza virus na nagbabago taon-taon. Tumatagal ito mula 2 araw hanggang 1 linggo. Ito'y nagiging sanhi ng pulmonya, impeksyon, dehydration, sakit sa puso, asthma, at diabetes. Naisasalin ito sa hangin, sa pag-ubo, pagbahing, pakikipag-usap sa may sakit, at paghawak sa mga kontaminadong bagay. Kapag nakaramdam ng lagnat, pananakit ng ulo at lalamunan, pag-ubo, pananakit ng katawan, panghihina, sipon, at kawalan ng gana kumain, kumonsulta agad sa doktor. Mahalaga sa may trangkaso ang kumpletong pahinga at ang pag-inom ng maraming tubig, fruit juice at mainit na sabaw. Para maiwasan, magpabakuna, huwag nang manigarilyo, laging maghugas ng kamay, at palakasin ang katawan sa wastong nutrisyon, pahinga at ehersisyo. Tandaan, ngayong panahon ng tagsakit, huwag malito. Dapat laging listo. Tinataguyod ng Estado, never again, to martial law. Sa ilalim ng RA 10368, kinikilala na ng Estado ang mga human rights victim ng martial law na maaaring mag-claim ng reparation o bayad pinsala. Kung kabilang ka dito, mangyaring maghanda lang ng mga sumusunod. Tandaan, maaari lang mag-file ng claim simula May 12 hanggang November 10. Para sa mas detalyadong impormasyon sa claiming process mo, sumangguni sa Human Rights Victims Claims Board. O bumisita ka sa internet site na ito. Ang mensaheng ito ay hatid sa inyo ng PTV, Telebisyon ng Bayan, sa pakikipagtulungan ng Human Rights Victims Claims Board. Health Watch, alertong pangkalusugan. Mag-ingat sa Middle East Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus o MERS-CoV, isang sakit na wala pang mabisang gamot o vaccine. Una itong naitala sa Saudi Arabia noong 2012. Kabilang sa mga sintomas nito ang lagnat, pag-ubo, hirap sa paghinga, at diarrhea na tumatagal ng 2 linggo. Ito ay maaaring mauwi sa kidney failure at maging sanhi ng kamatayan. Para maiwasan, laging maghugas ng kamay, gumamit ng medical mask, at patatagin ang immune system sa pamamagitan ng wastong nutrisyon, ehersisyo, sapat na tulog, at palagi ang pag-inom ng tubig. Tandaan, ngayong panahon ng tagsakit, huwag malito. Dapat laging listo. Disaster Watch, Disease Prevention. Mga paghahanda laban sa sakit ngayong tag-ulan. Iwasan ang dengue, takpan at linisin mabuti ang mga container ng tubig na maaaring pangitlugan ng mga lamok. Linisin ang mga alulod ng bahay at butasin ang mga gulong na pabigat sa mga bubong. Itapon ang mga tin cans, galon at iba pang mga bote na maaaring mapag-ipunan ng tubig. Ang mga sintomas ng dengue, pabalik-balik na lagnat, pananakit ng muscles o kasukasuan, skin rashes, pagsusuka, pagdurugo ng ilong, at pagsakit ng tiyan. Kung nakakaranas ng mga sintomas na ito, agad nang magpakonsulta sa doktor. Huwag malito, dapat laging listo. Health Watch, alertong pangkalusugan. Mag-ingat sa mapanganib na Ebola virus. Ang Ebola ay nagdudulot ng matinding pagdurugo at organ failure na nagiging sanhi ng kamatayan. Naisasalin ito sa laway, dugo, semilya, dumi at pawis mula sa tao, hayop at mga kontaminadong bagay. Karaniwang tinatamaan nito ang mga healthcare workers at mga kapamilya na may sakit. Kapag nakaramdam ng lagnat, pananakit ng lalamunan, panghihina at pananakit ng katawan, pagsusuka, madalas na pagdumi, pamumula ng mata, pag-ubo at pamamantal, kumonsulta agad sa doktor. Ang Ebola ay maiiwasan sa palagiang paghugas ng kamay, pag-iwas sa mga tao at hayop na may sakit, pagsusuot ng karagdagang proteksyon, at pagpapalakas ng immune system sa wastong nutrisyon, tulog at ehersisyo. Tandaan, ngayong panahon ng tagsakit, huwag malito. Dapat laging listo. Health Watch, alertong pangkalusugan. Ngayong summer, mag-ingat sa rabies. Ang rabies virus ay kadalasang nakukuha sa kagat ng isang infected na hayop gaya ng aso. Ito ay nagdudulot ng kumbulsyon, impeksyon sa utak, pagkaparalisa at pagkamatay. Para maiwasan, papakunahan ang ating mga alagang hayop. Kapag nakagat, hugasan ng sabon at tubig ang sugat at agad magpunta sa doktor. Obserbahan ang nangagat na hayop sa loob ng 2 linggo kung ito ay magpapakita ng mga sintomas gaya ng pagiging agresibo, paglalaway at hirap sa pag-inom at pagkain. Tandaan, ngayong panahon ng tagsakit, huwag malito, dapat laging listo. The shoemakers of Marikina have been in the business since 1887. Don Laureano Capitan Boy Guevara started the industry in the silong or basement of his house with only borrowed tools. Sumasaludo sa pagkamalikhain ng Pilipino.
Ang susunod na programa ay Rated G. Ito ay pwede sa lahat ng manonood.
%34 ng ating manggagawa ay galing sa agrikultura. Pag sinama mo pa yung hindi direktang nando sa sakahan pero merong kinalaman sa pagsasaka, aabot ng mahigit 50% ng ating mga manggagawa ay direkta o indirektang nagtatrabaho sa agriculture and agriculture-related industries. Kapag pinondohan natin ang programang pang-agrikultura, gumanda ang agriculture economy, mahigit kalahati ng mga manggagawa natin, gaganda rin ang kita.
Kung titingnan mo ang lipunan natin, kapansin-pansin na yung pinakamahihirap sa ating lipunan ay yung mga nasa hanay na magsasaka. Maraming nagsasabi na maganda yung paglago ng ekonomiya natin, yung economic growth natin, pinakamabilis o isa sa pinakamabilis sa buong Asia. Nga lang, hindi nararamdaman ng karamihan sa baba, lalong-lalo na yung mga nasa rural areas natin. No?
Talagang kabilin-bilinan ng ating Pangulo. Ang isda, at the agricultural country po tayo. At the same time, nakikita po natin na napakalaki pong papel na ginagampanan ng magsasaka at mangingisda sa ating ekonomiya.
Ang pinaka-napapabaya ng infrastructures natin, yung rural infrastructures. No? Napakaraming